Hey guys, I know. I said I was gonna be off this for a little while, but to be honest with you, as always, I just can't seem to help myself, especially after a unanimous vote that had taken place yesterday that affects the lives of people that have not truly been affected by everything that's happened this year, except for the measures that were taken to prevent what cannot be prevented. Um, and I think I would be remiss to not say anything at all, especially to share with you my personal experience with what I've experienced. Now, I am beyond the point of caring, to be honest with you. Not caring in the sense of that I don't care anymore, because I do. Caring what you actually think of me. And I think it's absolutely abominable that I actually have to say these things, that I actually have to make excuses or say things under pretense so that way it softens the blow of what I'm about to say. Because at the end of the day, I value my honesty. And as I was telling my coworker the other day, I'm an asshole for many reasons, but I am an asshole because I am honest, not because I am a liar. And I will forever pride myself on that. Now I might lie about certain things, but the big things, like, I have obvious tells. And as I've said, I've actually felt like I've restrained myself, refrained from saying all the things that I want to say for fear of you judging me or unfollowing me or thinking me crazy. And at the end of the day, I have no more fucks to give. I'd rather you think that me to be crazy than for you to think that I'm morally bankrupt. And at the end of the day, I think we're all searching for a moral compass, right? So why did I go off of Instagram? Because I'm writing a book. I'm writing historical fiction based in World War II, and I want to do a lot of research, and I've done a lot of writing. And what I've noticed in my research is the amount of parallels between what was happening in the 1930s in Europe and beyond to what is happening now. And you know, a lot of people are like, I'm a little bit of a loss as to how it is that we still believe in this idea of American exceptionalism, that what happens elsewhere just won't ever happen here. And I think that's an act of ignorance. I think that's an act of naivete and hubris that we need to bring ourselves down from, because it is happening. And whether you like it or not, it will continue to happen if we do not raise our voices in unison and stand up for what is right and stand up for our human rights and against these crimes against humanity. Because, you know, like I said, I'd rather you think I'm crazy. I'd rather you just sit there and be like, oh, what's this lunatic talking about now? At the end of the day, and once again, I can't believe I actually have to justify this. I can't believe that I actually have to give you my fucking validation for where I'm coming from and why I'm saying what I'm saying. But I'm gonna do it anyway because I'm an asshole. For over 20 years, I've studied war and art and history and violence and genocide. I have gone to South Africa. I have gone to Cambodia. I've lived in China. I have gone to Rwanda. I have visited prison camps in Germany. And it all starts the same way, with language, with words that are said that make you think something differently than how you should think as a human being, or you are told to think a certain way. And now we're at that point that we may enter this point of no return. So as I'm doing this research, I am researching Poland. I'm giving you a little hint of what I'm doing, but I'm researching Poland in, sorry, I messed up my hair. I got a haircut today. Poland in the years during World War II, when both the Nazis and the Soviets occupied Poland, and the response by the Polish to it, whether they went along with what was happening or they resisted it. And, you know, those that were not sent to their death, they resisted. They fought back. They built a army. They had a government in exile. No matter what happened above the surface, they went underground and kept on fighting. So I want to share with you this quote that I came across today. It was said by a Christian Pole in their letter of protest, and it says, "Crimes are being committed. Whoever keeps silent in the face of murder becomes the murderer's accomplice. He acquiesces who does not condemn. He acquiesces who does not condemn." Now, a lot of you might go out there and, like I said before, you might sit there and make excuses and be like, "Oh, that'll never happen here." What makes you so sure? What makes you think that what is happening now between the mandates, the requirements, the passports, the not laws, the change in the entire infrastructure of this country, what makes you think that this is for your greater good, that this is for our greater good, that somehow when the world's billionaires gain trillions more dollars collectively, and then they use that money to buy up the farmland of America, when they use money from the Federal Reserve to also buy property, do you truly, truly think in your heart of hearts that it is for a more equal agenda? Because I am not so certain. Like I said, I've studied the genocides of the 20th century, and I've studied war after war after war, and I get what Chief Joseph was saying, that he's tired of fighting and that he will fight no more. I get that. I get that now, because we have been worn down for so long. But yesterday there was a decision that was made that should have never been made, that it should have never been considered. And so I'm going to couple this. So I'm going to couple the idea that we are at war. And I say that with a heavy heart because I felt that way for years now, for a long time. And I never had the words to put to it because I never had a reason to put words to it, because I thought that, hopefully in my lifetime that the world will go on and it would not stop the way it has in the past 20 months. But that being said, yesterday, a 3-letter organization made a decision that will impact the lives of another generation. And it is not for their safety, because it has never been tested, and they themselves admitted that they'll never know the answer until they are distributed, until they are tested in public. And scientific experiments on humans have never, ever worked out the way as planned. Or it did work, I don't know. Anyway, if you guys are still with me, I'm rambling as I always do, but I'm going to continue to do it anyway. So I've shared with you the fact that I've had a gluten intolerance. I've shared with you the fact that I have had a very serious health scare in my life, and I had done research, and I've shared that with you, that journey. If you watched it and everything, I told you about how many things that I thought it was until I realized what it was. And I'm going to be honest with you right now, I was not informed. I was so excited to go to Rwanda to study genocide, to study why it is, and to better understand why it is that people went to war and what drove them, what moved them to commit those atrocities that they committed. And so excited was I that I did not look into what it was that was expected of me in return. And so I went to an office where I received a plethora, and I say plethora, maybe 2-3 things that I should have looked into. I mean, it's not like I didn't have the internet. It's not like I should have, but I trusted, blindly trusted. And I left. And then after I left, I didn't get my period. I was supposed to get my period on the day that I arrived in Rwanda, right? Didn't get my period. Didn't get my period for another week. Didn't get my period for another 2 weeks. Didn't get my period for another 3 weeks. Then I didn't get my period. But I bled. It's a strange thing to think about, isn't it? Not getting a period, but bleeding nevertheless. And then returning to my cycle after that. Now I was in Rwanda for 5 weeks. And when I came back from Rwanda, my body was never, ever, ever the same. I couldn't retain muscle mass. I couldn't exercise hard enough to build muscle. And I could not eat all of the things that I used to eat. The breads that I enjoyed, the pastas, the oatmeal, everything that I consumed that actually I felt kept me healthy. Couldn't do it anymore. And it took me years. We talked about this. I talked to you about this, but we talked about this. It took me years to figure it out. And wouldn't you guess it? I figured it out this past year because I looked into it. But it took me so long to figure it out. It took me. Told you this. I know I'm talking really soft and it might be strange for you to hear, but I'm only doing this video once. I don't feel like editing it anymore, and you might not even listen this far along. But it took me not being able to get out of bed. It took me calling my best friend at the time and telling her how desperately I wanted to throw myself in a river, didn't matter what river, so it could take the pain away and the discomfort that I had, because I couldn't make sense of what it was. And I knew that if I went to a doctor, they would give me antidepressants, but I knew it was something physically wrong with my body. And it goes back to those days before I went to Rwanda. And now they're asking you to put something in your child's body that does not have long-term studies, does not have a database that is taken seriously for long-term effects, and yet there are instances of myocarditis. There are instances of pericarditis. There are instances of seizures and tics and Tourette's and rashes and all these other things. And I know I keep on going and I keep on going, and I just see where this is heading, and we're gonna keep on making excuses after excuses after excuses without believing the people that have suffered from injuries before this, like myself. And like I said before, I don't care if you guys think that I'm crazy. I don't care if you, I really don't. Like, I really, really, truly don't, because I experienced an injury that I am still recovering from. I was, it induced an autoimmune disease that I still cannot recover from. And it really got me thinking about all the anxiety and chronic illness that is apparent and prevalent among children. And not to mention that, but the amount of suicides that are committed by veterans on a regular basis. I think it really comes back to heavy metal toxicity and what is put in these things that cause our bodies to repel it, that cause it to poison it, that cause it to react in the way that it reacts. And the reactions are different because our blood types are different. Our DNA is slightly different. So where am I going with this? Guys, let's put it all together. We are at war, and what better way to go to war than convince the people they're not at war? So that way then when they finally get to that violent part, there has been violence already. When we finally turn on one another in a physical way, Some of you might ask how it is that it happened. And it's because you did not talk to the people that just simply asked you to listen. It is because we were not able to have a conversation and ask questions and disrupt the narrative. Like I said, I'm not going to redo this video. I'm just going to keep it as it is. You guys can message me. I'm going to post this tomorrow, but please inform yourselves as to what is happening. Be careful what it is that you put into your body, and most especially, do not be unhesitant to put things in your child's body that don't belong there, especially when they are not at risk. Look at the true science. Look at the true data that is driving this, and then ask the questions that you are uncomfortable to ask. Why do things happen the way they do? What drives war? What drives profit? Going back to what we were saying before, so Poland, Germany, Russia, Europe, before World War II, the Great Depression. How did that affect the lives of millions of people all across Europe? And now when you fill up your gas tank, when you go to the grocery store and you see the rise in inflation, when you see that you're paying a greater price for goods across the board, when you are looking at the dangerous and harmful rhetoric that is taking place, the censorship, the sorry, getting used to the pollen down here. When you see the censorship, the everything, study what happened then and look at what's happening now. And then ask yourself, is it any different? And considering that it is almost 100 years from then to now, what might be different? What would be the driving forces? How could they get a group of people under control? Or you might just ask yourself, what the fuck is this crazy bitch talking about now? Either way, guys, use that brain. Recognize that history is not just the history that is told to you in textbooks, in documentaries, in movies produced by Hollywood. History takes place outside of that as well. History takes place on a regular basis. And then also realize that there is a reason why they say that history repeats. So be careful, guys. Protect your children. Protect yourselves. And be very cautious of the very people that are telling you what to think, what to do, how to act, how to behave, how to feel. Those are not the people you need to listen to. Listen to this. Listen to this. I'll see you guys around. If you have any questions, especially those of you who might feel a certain way or whatever, I'm here. But please, I'm not here to fight. I'm here to teach you. I'm here to learn myself. I'm here to grow. But I am definitely not here to fight with you and be told that I'm wrong for experiencing what I've experienced and feeling the way I feel after studying what I've studied and experienced what I've experienced with not being informed in my way too non-reluctant consent. So yeah, if you followed along, there you go. If you didn't, whatever. Just watch your kids, guys. Take care of them. Be aware that people that profit off of sickness don't give a damn about your health. And people that profit off of war do not invest in peace. Have a good night, guys. Let's see you around.